So welcome to the live coverage of the finish of Pip Hare, the British skipper on Medallia, coming into the finish line of her first ever Vendée Globe. She's going to take 19th place, and she's very close to the finish line now. As you see, quite brisk conditions, 20-25 knots of wind, and the Pip had problems with their keel canting system in the early evening, about 60 miles from the finish line. She'd been going so very well indeed, caught over 100 miles or so back on Stéphane Le Deraison. She was 150 miles behind 3 days ago, and was just 24 miles behind Stéphane at the finish line. So there we see Pip on the bow, or towards the mid-bow of Medallia, just waiting for that moment when she crosses the finish line. And what an epic race she's had. She was up in 15th place at her best just before Cape Horn, but 1,000 miles before Cape Horn, when she damaged the port rudder stock, or the port rudder stock was cracked and she had to replace the rudder. She lost a couple of places then, which she just never quite managed to get back. But nonetheless, she had a great climb back up the Atlantic and has been in this group of 5 boats just at the back of it all the way up. Was closing into Stéphane Le Deraison finally, but she will be incredibly happy, incredibly content with this race, considering where she started from on this boat, to the 21-year-old former Super Bigot, which was built by Bernard Stamm 21 years ago in July this year. So she's about 0.6 of a mile from the finish line was the last information we have. She's doing about 8-9 knots. And really, she's just waiting for that finish line to come just now. So Pip really has been the revelation of this Vendée Globe. Without any doubt, she set off relatively unknown to the global sailing community, only came into the Mocha class in 2019 when she chartered the Super Bigot, did the 2019 Rolex Fastnet race, and then came into the Transat Jacques Vabre, finishing 24th in her first big Mocha ocean race, and then sailed the boat back single-handed. And really, other than that, it's mainly been training passages that she's done. But she really has impressed everyone who's followed this race. Plaudits from Bernard Stamm, who won 2 round-the-world races on this boat, and built the boat, never managed to take the boat round successfully on the Vendée Globe. Had autopilot problems in his first race, and didn't manage to finish the race. Jean Le Cam described her as a ray of sunshine. Johan Richomme remarked many times how impressed he was with the way she sailed the race. And even today, our weather consultant for the Vendée Globe, Christian Dumar, was complimenting her for not just the way she's attacked this race and sailed it prudently when required, but her weather choices, her strategies have been excellent throughout. Sailing good trajectories. And increasingly building her confidence and her speeds in the Southern Ocean. First time in the Southern Ocean for her. And of course, celebrated her 47th birthday on the 7th of February. But this was going to feel like all our Christmases coming at once as she crosses the line within the next couple of minutes. She's just poised to hear the finish gun as she passes the legendary Noosh Sud, the South Noosh Cardinal Boy, which forms the outer end of the finish line of the Vendée Globe. And Pip has had such a tough race pretty much since the Azores, but never ever stopped fighting. And this is a culmination of a dream that started when he was a teenager, inspired by the greats of French ocean racing like Isabelle Tissier, Florence Artaud, and indeed our own Ellen MacArthur. And so Pip will become only the 8th ever female skipper to finish the Vendée Globe. And I'm proud to say 4 of them after Pip, and including Pip, will be our English skippers. Along, of course, with Ellen MacArthur, Sam Davis, Pip Hare, and now Pip Hare, the 4 British skippers who have completed the Vendée Globe. And I'm quite sure we will know the very second that Pip gets across the line. We can see the committee boat down there to leeward. Her shore team are all poised to go on board, led by technical director Geoff Brown. Geoff, hugely experienced Vendée Globe preparator. And there we go. Pip has crossed the finish line of the Vendée Globe. Incredible moment for Pip, and indeed for all her fans who followed her all the way around this course, and everybody at home in England, and indeed her sponsors, Medallia, who came on board in May only last year, and really was the catalyst that ramped up her project, gave it some security, managed to allow her to refit the boat, fitting a pedestal winch and some new sails, and giving her the real security to go ahead and take this project by the scruff of the neck, and really has made it work. So she crosses the line at 1:57:30 French time, so 00:57:30 UTC. So very close indeed to the 94 days, 4 hours benchmark that she was looking for, which was the record set originally in 2000-2001 by Ellen MacArthur. So Pip will be just about a day and 3 or 4 hours outside of that. But what a performance from Pip, bringing this boat round the world. It's 21 years old in July this year, and she's really pushed it incredibly hard. I think it would be fair to say harder than Alan Rura pushed her on the last race, and as a consequence of that, coming up the Atlantic in particular, things starting to break. The boat is tired, and Pip is quite tired. Not least that keel problem coming into the finish line. But she has completed the job. She's crossed the finish line. Her time then, 95 days, 11 hours, 37 minutes and 30 seconds. 15 days, 7 hours, 52 minutes and 44 seconds behind the winning time of Yannick Bestaben, 3 hours, 21 minutes and 30 seconds behind Stéphane Le Deraison. Her average speed over the theoretical course of 24,365 miles is 10.63 knots, and she sailed 27,976.87 miles at 12.21 knots. So just that's a little bit of a shorter distance, certainly, than looking quickly at my distances for a time for oceans. over 1,000 miles less than Time for Oceans for Stéphane Le Deraison, over 1,000 miles less than La Fabrique, and 2,000 miles less than DMG Morai, and over 1,000 miles less than La Micheline. About the same distance as a Roman Atanasio. 2,000 miles less than Chiral. And about the same kind of distance, give or take 100 miles, as Clarice Kramer on Bank Popular 10. So that's what I'm talking about when we say she's sailed super smooth and efficient trajectories. She's made good weather choices. And I think just a huge measure of relief now as she prepares to take her technical team on board. But I think ultimately this evening and this early morning, I don't think the finish in the end could come quick enough for Pip Hare. So the boat was sailed in the last race by Alan Ruda. Alan took it to 12th place, but that was in 104 days. And when Pip took the boat over from Alan Ruda, she asked him if she thought that the boat was capable again of breaking Ellen's 94 days record. And Alan said, absolutely, 100%. And Pip has come very, very close. In terms of the Vendée Globe, a day, 28 hours is really not very much. So Pip, we understand, will come almost directly straight into the channel. No hanging about for her out on the water. She's had a tough time coming into the finish with her keel problem and will be exhausted. So considering Pip's first solo race was really the O-Star in 2009, which he sailed on the Light Wave 395, which was her home for 13 years, known as the Shed. Then she came into the mini class, trained from La Grande Motte. And did a couple of mini transats. I think her best was 11th. And that's where she met and raced against Didac Costa, who's been her main adversary over the course of this race. Spanish sailor who's sailing Ellen MacArthur's old boat. The two have been close almost all the way around the world, although Pip has pretty much shaken Didac off over the last week or so. Didac getting a little bit less but left behind in the weather systems. Pip got on to a low pressure just ahead of Didac. Didac ended up going into the next system, and so Didac will be coming in on Saturday. But the two good friends as well as rivals, and their boats built and designed around about the same time in 2000, 2001. And Pip's, of course, is a Pierre Roland design. So we kind of forget, unless you're familiar with the history of Pip Hare, that say she lived on board her boat. She didn't have a house. She lived on board the Lightwave 395 and sailed it all over the all over Europe and to the Caribbean and down to Patagonia and Uruguay. Finally sailing it back from the South America in 55 days solo. And then, I say, she got herself into the mini class. Then class 40, she sailed fully crewed in the class 40, and also, I think her best in the class 40 was in the Transat Jacques Vabre in 2018 when she finished 9th. But a successful conclusion then today of a program which she really put her everything into early on. She was not sure that she would have the funding to get to the start line, but nonetheless she took on the charter of this boat, put everything into it, and then Medallia stepped in May 2019, and she has done a fantastic, they've been good for her and she's been good for them, absolutely 100%. So she says that she's always been obsessed with the Vendée Globe. It's always been in the back of her mind, one way or another. And like Ellen MacArthur before her, she lived in her van and lived on her Mini in 2011, 2012. At one point, she said she downsized her life. She got rid of everything that she didn't need, sold everything to pay for her living expenses and her sailing expenses. Early supporter. She had a business club based roundabout Poole, and all credit to the members of that business club, and indeed Poole Harbour Commission, who supported her both financially and in kind with the facilities in Poole, and all her supporters back in Poole, where she's based, must be incredibly proud, as indeed her family will be in East Anglia, where she grew up. She grew up in a sailing family, sailed mirror dinghies and so on with her family, and then raced and cruised a folk boat. Then had a Moody 33, which she sailed to Holland with her grandparents. I think they had 8 on board regularly. And then she became a sailing instructor, working, I believe, as many pro sailors did in their formative years with Sunsail in Port Solent. She did her time there, and since has become a quite well-known and successful racing coach, particularly in class 40 and slightly bigger boats, doing transatlantics. So we talk about the sailors that inspired her. Alan Ruda's one for sure. She said what he did in the last Vendée Globe was fantastic. And she said not just because he did it with the same boat, but she knows where he came from and they started out with. And he had the same kind of problems in terms of funding and getting his project going as Pip did this time. And so he not only was an inspiration, but a little bit of a role model. And they're good friends. And even though Pip was actually in front of him, and indeed Arnaud Boissier in the Pacific. She got past him before she had her rudder problem. The other big technical problem that Pip had early on in the race was losing her main wind wand, and then her spare stopped functioning, and that really put her on the back foot, unable to sail to the desired wind direction. She ended up only able to sail in compass, and with no wind information. She was reliant over a period of time until she got things a little bit sorted out. She was very reliant on the information that she could glean from Alan Rura and from Arnaud Boissier. But that really was the point at which she felt that she wasn't able to still push at 100% all the time, and maybe one of the lower points of her race. But you're talking about a skipper who had never sailed or raced in the Southern Ocean, and really interesting that she was talking about the low pressures in the North Atlantic and that big detour that they all had to do. She said recently, "I can't believe that I'm saying I'm missing the Southern Ocean, but the Atlantic over the recent days has been much tougher, much more unsettled breezes and bigger seas." But anyway, that's all behind Pip Hare now. Boat looking nice and settled, and she has her shore team on board. Not been easy for Pip pre-start or indeed at the finish, because of course the travel restrictions from England are incredibly tight, and so many people who would have been here to greet her on the pontoon and indeed in the channel, unfortunately, have had to stay home in England. But she has 2 or 3 friends who have made it, and of course her technical team. So say Pip spent 5 years sailing around the Atlantic with her Lightwave 395. Sorry, I was saying she spent 5 years sailing around the Atlantic on her Lightwave 395, which was her house, and she still raced the boat. They did the round of Britain and Ireland race, and cruised the boat down to South America. She'd leave the boat and then go back and work sailing and teaching sailing, coaching sailing, make some money, and then go back and cruise the boat. A lot of the times solo, and so for sure she's a sailor who's, over the course of this race, I don't think has ever suffered from being lonely. Though she has enjoyed the contact with the race, with us here in Race HQ, and with her sponsors, with her friends and family that she's managed to communicate with on WhatsApp. And of course, we've all enjoyed her daily missives, her writing and her videos. She's reached an audience that I don't think anyone else in this Vendée Globe has managed to reach. But she has grown with this race without doubt. I saw her grow in confidence, and I can remember particular points in the Indian Ocean in particular where she realized how much harder she could push Medallia, and she did. And as soon as she found her stride, as it were, with the boat, that was when she started to really take places and push the foiling boats quicker. She sailed a little bit further to the south under New Zealand and under the east of Australia and Tasmania. And that's where she made her big gain initially against Didac Costa. She caught back up with Arnaud Boissier and Alan Rura. And that group really were all together close coming up the Atlantic. And in the end, finishing only hours apart today. So Pip, our fifth finish since 8:56 this morning, when Arnaud Boissier came across the line, then Kojira Shiraishi, then in the afternoon and early evening, we had Stéphane de Raison and Alan Rura. Alan Rura first and then Stéphane de Raison. But Pip, the oldest boat to finish so far. Just bringing her mainsail down. I think she'll come pretty much straight into the channel. And she has, I said earlier on, great support from Geoff Brown, who's the boat captain. Sorry, technical director, he likes to be known as. But Geoff has done, I think this is his fifth Vendée Globe in different capacities. Previously worked with Rich Wilson in the last race. And Pip Hare, Conrad Humphreys. Did some work with Mike Golding, Alex Thompson at different times. And certainly, I think another success for Geoff. His boats generally have completed their round the world races, the boats which he has been in charge of, for sure. And I was just speaking to him before he went out about an hour ago, went out to meet Pip. He was saying that the damages, the small things that she's had problems with, really are an indication of how hard she's pushed this boat and the age of the boat, and some of the things that Bernard Stamm was having problems with back in 2004. Okay, I think that we're going to be a little bit of a time before we get our first words with Pip. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back to you very shortly when she comes into the channel. So join us in a few minutes. One, two, 1, 2. So we have the first images of Pip here coming into the famous Les Sables channel after finishing her Vendée Globe in 19th place. She has her technical team on board, and hopefully we'll get the first images and the first words from Pip. We should get an interview with her coming down the channel with her media team on board. But just Pip finished at the southern end of the line, so taking a little bit of time to get in. She has her team on board, her friends on board with her, and members of her team. So there's Pip on the mid bow, and lovely to see so many people turning out in the channel. It is 3 o'clock in the morning local time. And she has been proven such an incredibly popular skipper, relatively unknown for certain in France. When she left Les Sables on the 8th of November at the start, but she really has illuminated this race with her writing, with her videos, her humor, her tell-all missives every day. Very disciplined in her approach, not only to the racing but her communication. Demystified many aspects of ocean racing. And really enjoying these moments coming down the famous Les Sables channel. The welcome that greets every skipper who completes the Vendée Globe. Pip, the first British skipper to finish this race, and as I said earlier on, only the 8th woman ever to finish the Vendée Globe. And just to reiterate, 4 of them now are British women. Helen MacArthur, Sam Davis, Pip Hare, and now Pip Hare. I'm sure Pip was mildly concerned that the welcome might not be there, but as ever, the Les Sables people totally reliable and out in the channel even at 3 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as they hear the noise, they'll come out their doors. They all follow the jungle drums, as it were, knowing when the skippers are coming in. So many messages of support through her own website and through her social media channels. And she's reached a whole different demographic. That the race does not normally reach, not just sailing fans, but people from all walks of life and of all ages. And we know that because we get as many messages as our team do. Just taking her time now. Nice, quiet, sedate waters in the channel. May as well savor the time. Just remembering then it was only in May last year that Medallia came on board as the major sponsor. And one of the things that Pip was able to do with the investment from Medallia is adding new MPE autopilots, upgrades, new sails from One Sails, and new computer hardware, lithium batteries, outriggers, carver furlers, new standing rigging, custom tiller bearings, list of things that she was able to do and reducing the all-up weight of the boat a little bit. And also, one of the key things was the addition of a coffee grinder winch. It was the only boat in the fleet, the Mocha fleet, with top-handled winches. And also a little bit of credit, I think, goes to One Sails, to John Parker and his team, who supported Pip. And I know that she's been extremely happy with her sails. So just waiting for the first interview. We can see our media team on the dock, or sorry, on the deck of the boat, but not getting any audio as yet.
It really, really was. Yeah. Yeah. We're happy to be here. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
So there we go. Pip's first words. That's we just caught the end of that interview. Just saying she's very happy to be here. So not the longest or most instructive interview we've seen at the finish of the Vendée Globe, but certainly Pip looks happy. We'll get some words for her when she comes into the when she comes into the pontoon. And we are on board with Pip now. So she celebrated her 47th birthday on the 7th of February. Notable tweet from Russell Crowe, one of her big heroes in life. But also she did so many messages and tweets over the course of the race from Helen MacArthur, from Ben Ainsley, as well as so many top French sailors. Said earlier on, Bernard Stamm, previous owner and builder of this boat, called her his hero. Sean LeCam. Many of you Vendée Globe fans will have seen Jean on her last live, saying that she was a ray of sunshine, that she was his sailing daughter. There we go. Indeed, speak of the very man, Jean Lecam there, coming on board. A massive hug for Pip. And that is the ultimate sign of respect from Le Roi Jean. The biggest hug you've ever seen, I think. And what a moment. You know, Jean, who purports not to speak very much English, and Pip's French is a little bit limited, but there's really no words are required with these images. Jean is so proud of what she's done. And correspondingly, Pip really enjoying the moment with one of French sailing's longest standing and biggest stars, and certainly the outstanding star of this race for his seamanship and also his performance in this race. And bravo there from, I think, from Jacques Carris, our race director in the same rib, I think, good friends with Jean. Sean was saying in the live that he just thought what she'd done is fantastic on the an older boat. And I think if you remember, if you're watching that live or have seen it on replay, she was absolutely blown away to even speak with Jean, and now she doesn't quite know what to say. And one of the surreal moments of our race so far. And here's Jacques there, Jacques Carris, the race director. In the background. The hug from Jacques. I think there's respect not just about the way that she sailed the race, but also the level of communication that she's maintained all the way through. I think really quite unlike any other skipper we've seen in this race, both in terms of the how comprehensive her communication has been every day, how disciplined it's been, and how she's kept everybody informed of her ups and downs. And certainly the videos more often with a big smile. And just, you know, our last one, we all loved just waiting for the key moment, the 100-mile marker. It was typically Pip. Going back to take command of the good ship Medallia with their team round about her. So just coming into the the Portalona Marina.
I'll bring it back and be like, I'm not sure now.
So just casting my mind back to Pip's pre-race interviews, and she was saying that her ambition on this 2020-2021 Vendée Globe was to finish. Her weaknesses, well, she said, trying not to make stupid mistakes with her technique, not being thorough enough or meticulous. Her secret weapon is a knuckle-headed determination to succeed. And asked then, what do you want to share most of all? She said, all of it. This is such a human experience, and even for those who don't understand sailing, there's plenty to share about what we'd have to do to survive alone in extreme environments for 3 months. And among the skippers that she said it really inspires her, Sam Davis in particular. She's had such a long and illustrious career. What would you not go around the world without? Well, tea is the universal ingredient that's kept Pip going. How many times have we seen her with that tea flask, keeping herself warm at night, besides anything else? And as we all know, then, what is Pip's guilty pleasure at sea? Well, singing at the top of her voice to none other than Aretha Franklin, and that should be, as far as I know, that's going to be her anthem when she comes into dock in the marina. So just coming to the very outskirts, the fringe of the Portalona Marina, where the Ponton d'Honneur is, where all the IMOCAs are lined up, the finishers, just coming past the marina entrance. So there we go. I think I'm gonna leave you here for a minute. I'm gonna go down to the dock to see Pip come in. I'll leave you with the images just now, and in a few minutes we should have Pip on the dock.
Tying up the boats. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to. No, but I think it might be worth it. It's up to you. If you don't feel we'll save the flares for next time. We'll save the flares for next time. Yeah.
She's gonna crack the last place? I don't think so. She's not feeling it. Oh, what? Sorry? What?
I think it's fine. That one where he's there.
Yeah. Stop the camera.
C'est bon?
I'll sit down. It's stressed with the whole race.
Really?
Oh, they really were.
Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I thought I was doing pretty well. You know, really catching the balls up, and then like, started coming slabbies, and my keel lines have broken 3 times now. And literally, I just went away, bang, and I knew straight away it was the keel lines, and I've run out of spare keel lines, so I had to get down inside the boat, in with the keel, and just work a solution with the old line. But there were fishing boats everywhere, and then I came up on deck, and immediately after that, the starboard side of the pulpit that got bent, that broke off.
So,
so
in the end, the finish couldn't come soon enough.
yeah, me and Medallia, we're pretty pleased to be here, and this boat, I think, is sick of me.
And your conclusions about the race in general, you're pretty happy.
I am. I mean, I'm really, really happy. I still, you know, I feel I possibly could have, you know, would have been amazing to be ahead of a falling boat, and it was there, definitely. I made mistakes, but I've learned from them, and I can see where I made the mistakes, and I could see where I could be better. But I can't believe the race that I've had. I never thought it would be like this. I never thought I would be playing with falling boats, and it's been incredible, just amazing.
The high points?
Oh, just any time that you know that I'm pushing the boat hard, and you kind of it feels good, and the times, you know, my first 400-mile day, and then when I look at the rankings and see that I was the fastest boat in the fleet, and so anything like that, you know, just I get such a buzz out of doing something like that with a boat like this. But I mean, it's just being at sea. I love it. It's where I belong.
And a few more words about the boat. It's an incredible boat, and it's been good for you, and you've been good for it.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it is a strong and sturdy boat. I mean, this is the 5th time around the world, and I have not been kind to this boat. I have pushed it hard, but it's, you know, it was the right boat for me. It's difficult to sail in terms of it's a lot of extra effort because it's a bit clunky, but it's simple, which meant that I could keep on top of looking after it, and I could focus more on, you know, the big stuff, the navigation, you know, all of those sorts of things, which is about, you know, where I am with, you know, with my sailing. But I can tell you, I do not want to sail a boat that you have to walk back and forwards to the mast 4 times to reef. And I want a roof, and I want a little button that I press to move the keel.
And what about the level of support you've had, and the number of sailors who've complimented you in your race here? John LeCam with the biggest hug in the world coming in there. What's that like? But I mean, everybody else is so impressed with your race.
I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. The first time anybody sort of said that they were even noticed me, you know, I thought, I'm surprised that they even knew I was there. So, I mean, it's an incredible compliment for another sailor higher up the ranks than me to say that I've done well, and it's an incredible validation too. And yeah, I can't believe it.
What's your plan now? What's the plan for the evening?
Some food and something to drink, and I've got to learn how to do banter again, because apparently I'm not very good at it anymore. No, so he says I need to work on my banter. I've been away for 3 months.
Not entirely on your own, but a few words about your team who supported you.
They're pretty awesome, really, aren't they? They really are. Yeah, I've got a tiny team, and you know, they have been amazing, and in particular, Joff and Lou, that woman there, Lou, who's going to run away in a minute, is basically, you know, I started this out doing everything on my own. So I was running the whole business on my own, every aspect of it. And Lou's always been there to help me. And then when Medallia came on board, you know, I got a chance to be a sailor, which is what I wanted to be. And I just picked up the whole business and I gave it to Lou. And she, you know, everything that you see that looks good from the shore side is because of what she's done. And she does it part-time. And she just picked it up with no handover. And she's worked harder than me through this whole race and hasn't had nearly as much fun.
And this is not your last Vendée Globe.
No way. No way at all. 2024. I'm coming back. I have to. Because now I've seen it. Now I know what to expect. Now I know where I can improve. But also, it's an incredible race. It's amazing. It stretches you so much as a person. Why would you not want to come and do it again?
Well done, Pip.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, impressive. We are next. What's your race?
Yeah. Am I? Oh, okay.
From Australia. Live. Oh, wow. Oh. She's saying hi, Ben. It's on my headphones. Okay, hello. Congratulations. How are you doing? Cold. I'm good. I'm kind of not quite landed yet. These things take a little bit of time to land.
Yeah, I think it will slowly dawn on me. I've just finished the Vendée Globe, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be here.
So I'm just relaying what Nick said. She's saying thank you so much for taking us on your journey and relaying all your challenges. And yeah, it's just been amazing following you.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. It has been a pleasure. It really has.
Well done. And I've lots of people saying I need to hug you, but I'll leave that till later.
When we met before your Vendée Globe, before you finished it, you speak about Ellen MacArthur and night before your clothes, not better, but clothes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that was my performance goal, and pretty much, well, until I broke my bladder, I was ahead, like by a reasonable amount, and then I was still ahead for, I was ahead or level, and up until a week ago, I thought I could still make it, but the weather in this last week was just, we had to go 1,000 miles in the wrong direction. So no, I didn't make it, but I'm close, and I know I could have, and so that makes me feel good. Yeah.
You also said that your first goal was to test yourself and know yourself better with this journey.
Yeah.
So what about that?
Yes, I mean, without a doubt, I never I never stopped pushing myself, and I guess that's why maybe I was able to drive Medallia so hard, because the first time I got into one of the Southern Ocean low pressure systems, I was pushing, and then I backed off when I was worried, and I fell out of the back of the system, and I watched everybody sail away from me, and I learned, okay, well, it was okay. I didn't need to back off. So I got on the next one, and I pushed harder, and every time, I just find the limit and then push a little bit more. And there are so many things that I've done in the last 3 months that if you'd have said to me before the race, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, I wouldn't have believed it. But you get put in that environment, and it's really empowering. It really helps you sort of become a better you.
And you also said that to make a good Vendée Globe, you need to do it twice.
Yeah.
Is it still your...
Yeah. 2024. I'll be there. Yeah.
You're sure about that?
100%. Yeah.
And also, are you surprised that a lot of other sailors are like falling in love in like Jean?
I'm very, very, very surprised. Yeah. I mean, really, really surprised.
Is it the best thing for you?
It's
to be recognized.
It's an incredible validation, because you're on your own. You're doing, no one's telling you what to do. It's my first time in the Southern Ocean. I've only been in an IMOCA for 2 years, and it's been a difficult 2 years, and I've had no opportunities to train with other sailors. I've had no coaching, and so to have my peers, to have other competitors in the race say they think I'm sailing in the race is a really incredible validation. Yeah.
Thanks. See you in 24.
Come on. Yeah.
No, pues sí,